Advancing on every front. U.S. columns end.
And it was reported today unofficially that well over 350,000 German troops have voluntarily surrendered.
Thank the Lord, it's almost over in Europe.
Well, I guess it'll be over in the Pacific soon, too.
We can be very proud of our part in it.
But I really feel we should be grateful for the opportunity we had to serve. And with this information, I'm determined we can prove what can be done in peacetime, too.
As you said, in time of peace, prepare for war.
And in time of war, prepare for peace. Well, you know where I'll be. Keep me posted while I'm gone.
Right.
Have a good trip.
This is a man of vision who inspired the lives of those around him. His philosophy was best expressed in a passage from a poem.
We abhor the beaten path. Not for us the cowbell or the curfew. We shun the smooth high road strung with signs of warning and safety signals. We dare the dark to reach the dawn.
This, then, is the story of a pioneer who founded an enterprise that was to provide jobs for thousands of families. A man with the unique ability to achieve success in whatever he undertook.
Beautiful dreamer, wake unto me. Starlight and dewdrops are waiting for thee.
It was around the turn of the century. The place was the auditorium of Sullins College in Bristol, Virginia.
Lulled by the moonlight have all passed away.
Well, if I'd known you liked singing so much, I'd have brought you to one of these musicales before.
Beautiful dreamer, awaken to
Is that girl?
Her name's Louise Parham.
Louise Parham. What do you know about her?
Well, she comes from LaGrange, Tennessee. She's studying here at Sullins College. She's about the most popular girl on campus, and she sings mighty well.
I'm gonna marry her.
You are what?
That girl is gonna be my wife.
Well, congratulations. When did she find out?
Oh, well, I have to meet her first.
I'd like you to meet Mr. R.S. Reynolds. How do you do, Mr. Reynolds?
It's nice to meet you, Miss Parham. I want to tell you how much I enjoyed your singing this evening.
Thank you very much. Would you care for some punch?
Yes, ma'am, I'd love some. Thank you.
So their courtship began. And during the next 4 years, R.S. Reynolds made the trip to LaGrange, Tennessee, more and more frequently.
Louise, you sit down. Right there.
My, it's a lovely day, isn't it?
Yes. Louise,
Yes?
I've wanted you for my wife ever since the first moment I saw you. I never did propose to a girl before, and I don't know exactly how it's done, but will you be my wife?
Well,
Now, before you say anything, a couple things I gotta tell you. I got a good job now with my Uncle Dick, but I don't intend to stay. Before too long, I'm gonna leave and start my own business. and it'll be a success.
Did anyone ever tell you, R.S., that you are an extremely persuasive man?
And so he went to Tennessee, to a mountain which was a rich source of crystal silica. Here he started a business. A fine powder, coated in a bath of pure soap, was prepared from the silica crystal and manufactured into cleansers. They soon became housewives' favorites in the East and the Midwest. The enterprise prospered. During the first 8 years of a happy marriage, 4 sons were born to Louise and R.S. Reynolds. Through his determination and hard work, the business that he had created for his family grew steadily.
Hello.
Mr. Reynolds, the factory's on fire. The whole factory, it's gone up in flames.
Isn't that where they make spotless cleanser?
Yeah, that's where they used to make it.
With his factory a total loss, R.S. Reynolds went from city to city, searching for another location. Finally, in Louisville, Kentucky, a new manufacturing plant was found. Soon, production was underway, and he once more made plans for future growth.
Oh, hi there, Warren.
R.S., I'm sorry to tell you, but I'm afraid that as they go, so do we.
What do you mean?
We just had some terrible news, this letter from Washington. All our products have been declared non-essential for the war effort. They won't even allow us any more railroad cars.
And no more steel.
And no more coal.
The plant was closed down. No longer could the company make cleansers, pack them into containers. Containers. His plant could make containers, but what kind? For what purposes? Perhaps for the war effort. For weeks, R.S. Reynolds went from office to office in Washington, presenting ideas for products that his plant could make, but without success. Then, on his third trip, he took along an associate, Warren Watts.
Oh, hello, R.S.
Warren? What are you doing?
I'm doing just what it looks like I'm doing. I'm soaking my poor, tired feet. Come on, join me. You've been walking around Washington even more than I have.
You have any luck?
No. Nothing I think we could ever make.
I found the same.
The design section of the Army wants a waterproof gunpowder drum. Ones they're using now are made of steel, but steel's getting too scarce. They want one made of paper.
A waterproof container for gunpowder made of paper?
I told them it was impossible.
A waterproof container for gunpowder made of paper.
You there, sir? Oh, yeah? What are you using for your roofing material?
Asphalt felt.
And your binder?
Pure asphaltum.
Asphaltum. And it's waterproof. Thank you.
So R.S. Reynolds and his associates soon devised a powder drum made of asphalt felt, using asphaltum as a binder, and with a tin top and bottom. It turned out to be exactly what was needed by the Army. Soon, the Louisville plant was shipping 50 carloads of drums a day to the fighting front, saving thousands of tons of vital steel. As the war ended, R.S. Reynolds was already consulting with engineers and reaching in an entirely new direction.
We are going to make this here in our plant.
Tinfoil. We feel there's a tremendous future in foil for packaging.
That may well be. I know that a number of factories for foil milling are already in operation.
This is a factory. It's been set up recently in New York. A 4-story building has been converted to house the mills.
Excuse me. We are going to have our machines in one line on a level, in a straight line like this, and then devise some kind of conveyors to eliminate the hand labor of lifting all that weight from mill to mill.
With that kind of efficiency, you could make and sell foil for less than half the current price.
But it'll cost a good deal of money to set it up. You design it. We'll find a way to raise the money to build it.
They did build it, and soon the new U.S. Foil Company was supplying tin and lead foil to an ever-expanding market. The next decade was a happy one for Louise and R.S. Reynolds.
Louise!
Their 4 boys had become young men, but as always, there was a new challenge.
Wait until you see this.
Is something wrong?
Yes and no. Here, I want to show you something. Take a look at that.
Well, what is it? It looks like your tin foil, but
What we're up against now. Aluminum foil. Costs less to make than tin foil. Light as a feather, but strong. Tough. Louise, this is the metal of tomorrow. I've never been so sure of anything in my whole life.
But can your tin foil compete with it?
No. That's why we decided today that as soon as we can convert some of our mills, we are going to start rolling aluminum foil.
The tinfoil mills were converted to aluminum. Following the new product came a new name, and the Reynolds Metals Company concentrated on producing aluminum foil, which soon became one of the major packaging materials in the United States. Great days lay ahead for R.S. Reynolds. He could now look forward to the time when his 4 sons would join him in the company. Each of the Reynolds brothers had special talents of his own. David Reynolds had always wanted to be a salesman. Now he was one, touring the United States in a packaging bandwagon, a kind of traveling sample case. With a uniformed chauffeur to help make a colorful impression, David Reynolds' sales method was to park in front of a potential customer's factory near the door the executives used. Being both a personable and persuasive young man, he was able to interest the presidents of many companies in at least taking a look at this new type of packaging.
More and more, sir, packages of consumer goods are turning to aluminum foil, not only to keep their products fresh, but to give them eye appeal. These are some examples. This is your present label, sir. Doesn't it look a little drab in comparison?
You know, you may be right.
The aluminum bandwagon rolled on, and soon the new products were introduced into other countries. What later was to become a major part of the business began with a visit in a Latin American city by Lewis Reynolds.
Buenos días, señor. Buenos días. Yo soy Lewis Reynolds, de la compañía de metales Reynolds.
Mr. Reynolds, I am delighted to meet any American businessman who has taken the trouble to learn my language. What can I do for you?
Well, it's more a matter of what we can do for you. May I show you?
Please do.
This was the first sale made by Reynolds International. It was due mostly to the quality of the product, but it was hardly hindered by the fact that Lewis Reynolds had taken the trouble to learn Spanish. Richard Reynolds Jr. had a unique talent in finance, was a natural-born executive and leader who could make decisions.
To sum up, our sales have more than tripled in the past few years, and manufacturing has expanded to keep pace with them. Billy here has something to tell us about our future.
Billy Reynolds. His particular interest was the development of new products.
This report describes dozens of aluminum products that we can make. Now, I feel that we should expand into these new fields.
I also agree with Billy, but gentlemen, we are facing a very serious problem. As we all know, we are dependent upon the only producer of primary aluminum in this hemisphere. Even their present output is not great enough to supply the current market, much less meet the requirements of future expansion. And I've heard that our quota will be reduced. Excuse me. Yes. Oh, yes, ask them to hold on. Now, we placed an order this morning for 100 million pounds of aluminum to be delivered over the next 3 years. They're calling us about it now. Yes. This is ours, Reynolds. I see. Is that final? Thank you. Goodbye. They're sorry, but they can't accept our order.
Undaunted in spirit, they would find primary aluminum somewhere.
R.S. Reynolds went first to London. Not a pound of aluminum was for sale. Try Germany, he was told.
Being short of other metals, we must use aluminum for such things as doorknobs, for example.
And airplanes.
Oh, yes, we are building an air force, but only to protect ourselves against our enemies. Mr. Reynolds, all this talk of war is political nonsense.
Of course. And I'm sorry you can't spare me any aluminum. Thank you.
France. It was only here that R.S. Reynolds was able to buy aluminum. They didn't need it, he was told. Their defenses could repel any German invasion. The French aluminum arrived, and the company was able to remain in full production. New headquarters were established in Richmond, Virginia. Meanwhile, R.S. Reynolds was in Washington, predicting that Hitler would soon plunge the world into war. He urged the production of more aluminum for national defense. He began to get the reputation of being an alarmist. Finally, he had the chance to present his case to Senator Lister Hill of Alabama.
Well, Senator, it's simply this. Hitler is invading France. For 5 years now, France, Britain, and the United States have ignored the sensational increase in Germany's aluminum production. Now, this is a light metals war, Senator, and will be won or lost in the air.
You make the situation sound desperate.
Senator, France is doomed. And unless we do something now, Britain will fall and the United States could well follow. We must produce more aluminum. We simply can't make planes without it. Right this very minute, the Axis is producing 1 billion pounds of aluminum a year. We're only making about 300 million.
Well, I certainly see your point. Why don't you make this aluminum yourself?
Well, Senator, we simply don't have the know-how, nor the equipment,
nor the bauxite ore, nor the money. But I tell you, sir, we do have the guts.
I believe that. Suppose you could get the money. Could you make aluminum?
Absolutely. We are sure we could.
All right. I'll arrange an appointment for you with the Federal Reconstruction Finance Corporation. But I think I should warn you. They drive a hard, tough bargain.
Gentlemen, Senator Hill was right. The RFC was not designed to give away. In return for a loan of $15,800,000, they want a mortgage on every one of our present plants, as well as the one we plan to build.
Yeah, and they're going to want more than the going rate of interest, too.
What do you think of the proposition, R.S.?
Well, before I say anything, I'd like my sons here to give us all the reasons why we should not go into this venture. Boys?
Well, first, aluminum is one of the most difficult metals in the world to make.
3 American companies have tried to do it and failed.
If we should fail, it could well mean the end of our company.
Metallurgists have told us that it will take us 3 years to turn out our first pound of aluminum.
And even if we do succeed, if the United States isn't drawn into the war in Europe, there'll be no market for it.
Any more from our devil's advocates?
That's about it. To sum up, we could fail disastrously. But despite all this, my brothers and I feel that we not only should try to make aluminum, but we must try.
Bauxite ore was found in Arkansas. The new plant was built in record time near Sheffield, Alabama, and named Lister Hill in honor of the senator who had faith in R.S. Reynolds. The production of this vital metal from bauxite ore to aluminum is a staggeringly complex process. It did not take 3 years.
It took exactly 5 months and 28 days before the first aluminum was poured at Lister Hill. 7 months before Pearl Harbor, the plant was turning out good aluminum. As good, if not better, than any in the world.
Then rolling mills were installed, and by May of 1941, the company became the nation's first independent primary aluminum producer. Soon, bauxite ore came in at one end, and fabricated aluminum came out of the other.
This accomplishment was soon to have a significant meaning to our nation.
Is this the commanding officer of the Army Scheduling Unit?
Yes? To whom am I speaking?
R.S. Reynolds of the Reynolds Metals Company. I just want you to know, sir, that you can expect 200 million pounds of fabricated aluminum from us in 1942.
200 million pounds? From the little Reynolds Company?
No, sir. From the big Reynolds Company. Goodbye, sir.
Employees worked around the clock to turn out aluminum sheets so desperately needed by the airplane manufacturers. Yes, this was a war to be won in the air.
The war is over at last. On the battleship Missouri, General MacArthur accepts the Japanese surrender in an official ceremony. As news of the surrender is officially confirmed, America goes wild with joy. In war plants across the nation, those who have worked years, day and night, have good reason to be proud of their contribution to victory.
All right, gentlemen, let's get back to business.
Now, gentlemen, we are all in agreement about not cutting back. We are going to do just the opposite. Expand. We'll lease some of those defense plants the government's been shutting down. The challenge is to produce for peace just as well as we did for war. New uses for aluminum must be found because, gentlemen, aluminum is the metal of the future.
Aluminum, the metal of the future. A future which was foreseen by a man who changed an entire industry.
Come in.
Excuse me, but I knew you were alone. There.
What's this?
The President's citation. I've had it framed.
Well, I'm not so sure it should hang in here. It wasn't meant for me. It's for everybody in the company.
But it was awarded to you, and it has your name on it. It'll hang here. Thank you. Looks very well, I think. Oh, this folder is the material you wanted on the possibilities of aluminum curtain walls for skyscrapers.
Thank you.
This man pioneered new ideas for the future, which in the years to come helped shape a vision into reality, leaving a priceless legacy to those who followed him. It was
the dark to reach the dawn.